Okay, the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to attach the bottom to the bag. But before we do that, one of the things I want to point out, I'm not going to do it for the video because I have not cut the straps out yet, but this is the best time to put the straps, apply the straps to your bag, whether you're going to use one of these it's not a D-ring, but this is some type of ring that you can use if you was going to take a piece of leather, run it through and attach it to the side of the bag, or if you're going to actually just sew your straps to your bag, or if you're going to put a buckle, sort of like what we did here. We use a buckle keeper and attach the buckle keeper with the buckle on it onto the bag itself. So, but I just want to show this will be the best time to do it. I mean, I'm going to do it after I put the bottom on the bag, but if you do it at this point of the process, it's just much easier because everything is flat. You can attach your two buckles on one side and then turn it over and then attach the other ones. But I just want to just point that out to you because it is just easier to do it now. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to glue the bottom to the bag. Now, one thing you do want to do, you do want to unzip the bag, because once you glue it, because it's going to be turned inside out, it will be hard to turn it back in because it's zipped up. So just remember to unzip your bag before you glue it and sew it. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm using contact cement glue, and I know I've said that you can get this glue at Lowe's or Home Depot. When you get it, it's not this color. It's a very bright tan color. So what I do is that I leave the container open for a few days to let it kind of dry out, because when you get it, it's very watery and it doesn't stick as well, but it's much cheaper. I'm going to put a line of glue around this, around the bottom, not very wide, it's just going to be wide enough. You know what, let me stop, because there's something that I should have done and I did not do it, just so you can see the process. Jumped ahead of myself, so let me stop, get some clamps and go through the process the way I should be doing it, because this is not the right way. Okay, now let me do this the right way. One thing that you need to do before you glue the bottom to the bag to sew it is that you want to find the center of the bottom of the bag. So what I do, I just take it, I fold it over, and I mark my center. And the reason why I do that is because I want to be able to match it up with the center of the bottom of the bag, which is the seam. So I will take this, I will take that mark, line it up with the seam, take a clamp, and this way it would also ensure that the bottom is going to match up with the bag. Then I'll turn it around. I'll do the other end. Line it, the center of the bottom with the seam. This makes such a big difference, because if I would have just glued it and started applying the bag, I would not have had the true center of the bottom of the bag, which I would not know if it really would fit the way it should fit, or if I have it in the right place. Because you can have it off-centered and the bottom is just not going to fit like it should. So I'll go back on the other end, clamp it, and the reason why I'm doing that is because the leather will stretch, and if there is somewhere that I need to stretch it, I just stretch it to make it fit properly. I know this takes just a little longer to see this, but it will really help you out when you're constructing this bag. And what this does, this let me know that everything is going to fit. Okay, it's going to fit just perfect. Okay, it's going to fit just perfect. So now that I know it's going to fit, what I will do, I can take my clamps back off and then glue it. And what I'll do, I'll just take off one side and glue it, and I'm putting a very thin line of glue on it. And I'm only going to put glue on just the bottom of the bag itself. I'm not going to put glue on the bag. I could, but because I already have it halfway clamped, I'm going to glue it and then reclamp this side, and then I will do the same thing for the other side. So I'm just going to reclamp this. This just makes everything much easier, and I know it's going to fit because I've already fitted it. And make sure that everything lines up, it's even, it's not one-sided. This way everything just fits back just perfect. Now I will do the other side. Let me put a couple more clamps on here just to assure that it stays in place. Now I'll just do this side. Take these off. And like I said before, once you make this bag, you're gonna love making this bag. And we have, like I said, we have the larger version. And this version here. See here. Get that to fit back the way it should. Okay, now that we have this glued, we're going to sew it. We're going to sew the bottom together now. Okay, what we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and sew the bottom to the bag. And what I'm doing is that I'm sewing from the top. Instead of turning it over, I'm sewing it this way. And the reason why I'm sewing with the bottom laying flat is because when I go around these curves, I want to make sure that everything is flat around those corners when I turn that corner and sew. So we're going to, and I'm going to sew it at 1/4 inch seam. You can do a larger seam, but it just doesn't seem to turn right when you turn it that inside in, it doesn't seem to turn the way it needs to, so that's why I do it at a quarter inch seam. And you can start where you like, but I like starting in one of the seam as far as the side of the bag, and I won't do a back stitch there. I'll just come all the way back around and then do a back stitch, and I just take the clamps off as I approach them. Now this is what I mean by, when I go around this corner, I want to make sure that this is completely flat, so when I sew it, and I'm not sewing across any leather, that's going to be sticking up. And just remember when I said that, make sure when you do this that the bag is unzipped, it's not zipped up. I did that a couple of times and it can make it very difficult to turn this bag. Make sure this is flat. cut this where we started because that's where I'm going to do my back stitch. Now I'll do a couple of back stitches. That's where we started. Okay. Now we'll go back over and we'll turn the bag and you can see what it looks like. Okay, now we will turn the bag and you will see what this bag is looking like. You just take it. And this is why you want to make sure that the bag is unzipped before you sew it. This is the bag. Now, what we will do, we will put a bag stiffener in the bottom of the bag before we put the bottom of the lining on to give it some body. But this is the bag. So like I said before, this is a very easy bag to make. Once you make it, you're going to love making this bag. So the next thing we'll do is put the bag stiffener in and then sew the bottom to the lining. Okay, now that we have the bag made, the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to put a stiffener in the bottom. You don't have to do that, but I do just to give it a just to give it body. Because right now, see how soft this is? By putting a stiffener in it, it gives it some body. But what I want to do is stuff this bag to show you just how good looking this bag is. And like I said, once you make this bag, you're going to love making it. I did not put pocket inside, but you may want to put a pocket inside of your bag. Just for time's sake, I did not do that, but the same way that I put this pocket in, you can put a pocket on the inside of the bag. And everybody kind of have their own way of doing things. I mean, this is how good this bag looks. This is a good looking bag. And like I said, what we'll do now, we'll put the stiffener in the bottom of the bag, and the pattern for the stiffener is just a little smaller than the bottom of the bag itself. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use bag stiffener, and this you can get from Tandy Leather Factory, and I think it's like $10 for 4 foot by 6 foot. I'm not sure of the exact size, but you get quite a bit for $10. So we're going to put this bag stiffener in. I don't know why I've tied that, but I'm just going to, oh, I don't have to. Get some weight. Trace this out, and then cut it out, and then we will insert it into the bottom of the bag. Now, to think about it, it would probably be easier to put this inside the bottom of the bag before you sew the bottom on. It'll be easier to do that. But since I did not do that, I'm going to show you how you would do it if you do not put it in before you sew the bottom to the bag. And this bag stiffener works wonders if you're trying to make a bag and you feel like that it doesn't have enough body to it. You can use this in between your leather, and it would really give it a very good stiff body. One of the things we're going to do, we're going to make a camera bag, and we're going to use this bag stiffener to show you how much body you can put in your bag. So what I'm going to do, I'll take the stuffing out. And I'm going to turn this bag inside out. Lay this down. I'm going to use contact cement glue, and I'm going to glue the stiffener first. Now you want to make sure that you glue the stiffener and the bag itself, so in that way it will stick and hold. If you just glue one of them and not glue both, at some point the stiffener will start to come apart from your bag, because one needs something else to stick to. Now, like I said before, this is contact cement glue that I got from, you can get it from Lowe's or Home Depot, and when you get it, it's not going to look as dark as this glue, because what I do is I leave it open to let it age, and it just sticks much better. Now I'm going to glue the bottom of the bag. It doesn't have to be on there real thick, but you do need it on there. And like I say, it would have been easier to do this before putting the bottom to the bag, but since I forgot, this will allow me to show you how you can do it even after you have attached the bottom to the bag. I want to make sure I spread it real thin. And one of the things you want to make sure you do is that when you put this stiffener in, when you put this stiffener in, you want to turn this bag over and make sure that everything is flat and even, because if not, if you just put it on and think that, oh, everything is going to be flat, it will not be. So you can just go inside and flatten it out. I had to learn this the hard way. This is flat inside. So I'm going to let this dry for a couple of minutes. Make sure this is pushed down. I'm going to make sure it's dry, so we'll let it set for about 3 or 4 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll flip it back where it should. Now, while this is drying, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and apply these snaps here onto this bag, and because this is a good time for me to do that while this is drying. So basically what I would do, I would just put the snaps in from the back side. Might as well do this while I have the time. That way I don't have to go back and do it later, while the bag is already turned inside out. And these holes we punched earlier at the very beginning, we punched these 4 holes. And like I say, once you make this bag, you're going to love making this bag. And it's a nice style. Okay, so we was able to get 2 things taken care of at one. So we're going to turn this back in. Don't be afraid to bend that bag stiffener. It's very flexible. Make sure one thing I'm going to do, see, this is not turning like it should, So I'm just going to go back, because it's a little too close to that top. I'm going to pull this off and trim some of that. This is a little too close. See, that's much better there. So if you make your stiffener too close to the edge, you may have to go back in and trim that. You see the same thing here. See how this is not laying the way it should? So I'm gonna go back and trim some of that off. See how that's too close, so it's not allowing it to lay like it should. So I just go in and trim that. Now that's much better. That's the way it should lay. Now put my stuffing back in. I was able to get two things done at once. I was able to put these snaps on both ends and put that stiffener in the bottom. You know, I still don't like the way this is laying right here. If you kind of see that, so I need to go in and I'm going to trim some of this back off. But really, this is the bag. And the only thing I need to do now is decide on what type of straps I'm going to put on, or if I'm going to put buckles or just D-rings. And after that, after making the straps, making the piece that's going to go across here and attaching those, the last thing is putting in the lining, and this bag will be done. So we only have a few more steps to go. Okay, now that we have the bag put together, we have the bottom on, the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to put the strap on. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to use buckles that are, these are 1-inch buckles. And I think what I'll do is cut out some strap keepers to hold the buckles onto the bag, and you can apply your straps any way that you like. They could be just using a D-ring, or they can be attached straight to the bag. It's whatever you desire. But I'm going to use buckles. I'm going to make the buckle keepers. I'm going to make the straps. I'm going to also make this piece, this strap here that goes around the side, which will go right here. But I think I'm going to do this one different than I did this. And even the strap, I use Vegetan on the back and the primary leather on the front. I think what I'll do, I will use my leather and fold it. I will cut out this is a 1-inch buckle. I think I will cut out a 2-inch 2 inches wide and 24 inches long. 2 pieces for the straps, and I will cut out 2 inches by 7 inches for the strap for the buckle keeper, and I will cut out 2. I should be writing this down so I can remember it, but so I need from this strap to be, I need for it to be 4 and a half, 4 5/8 by 2 inches. So I need 2 of those. Okay, so now I can go with the same color of the leather to make my straps, but I also been looking at this yellow. I'm really thinking about using this yellow because I just like colors, and I think that's what I'll do. I think I'll use the yellow just to break this color up, give it some contrast. So I think I'll use the yellow. So I need 224 by 2 inches. Those are my straps. So I need 224 by 2 inches. I think I'm going to go across this way. That way I can start off with a straight edge and use this part here to get my smaller pieces out of. I think this would work. Okay, getting some weight. And I know that you see me using these and you're probably wondering what's inside of these soap dish. They are actually weights. These are little weights. I'm not even sure where we got these from. I think Carla brought these in. But these are actually weights. But you could put bags of sand inside of these little soap dish and use those for weights. So I'm going to cut a straight edge to get this started. So I need 224 by 2 inches. My ruler is 24 inches long. Two 24 by 2 inches. Okay, so now I have all of my straps cut out. Now I will glue them together to make straps out of them. Okay, what I'm going to do now is glue the straps And 1, 2. Yes. Now I'm going to use the water-based glue. This is a water-based glue. It's the Tandy's Leathercraft glue. And basically what we use these sponges, paint sponges that we get from like Michael's or Hobby Lobby. You get them in a pack of about 50 for a little of nothing. And they seem to work very well with spreading the glue. And we will glue the whole piece, and then we will fold it. So I'll show you how we glue this. I'll show you at least one of them. And to save time as far as the video, I will go ahead and glue one, show you how it's done, and then off camera I will glue the rest of them. There's no sense in me gluing all of them on camera, wasting your time. So just so you know how the gluing process is done. And what I do is that I let it dry for a couple of minutes to allow it to stick together. Now you can use whatever glue that you like, but this is the water-based glue. It doesn't have such a toxic smell to it. Anytime I'm using quite a bit of glue, I like using the water-based glue because it doesn't have a toxic smell to it. But you can use whatever that you want to use for this. So what I'll do, I'll basically take it, and by folding this inward, it's going to give me a size 1-inch strap. And the longer it's set, the better it will hold. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to just put a clamp here, just kind of get myself started to hold it and allow it to hold at the top. So basically what I'm doing, I'm just folding. I'm folding it over to the center. This would allow me to have a finished looking strap. I should have looked at this leather on the top because this part of the leather has something on it. I'm going to try and take it off, but I think I still should have enough to make one 7-inch strap out of. There are some belts you can actually make with the same process, where you're folding it over like this. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the same process. I'm going to glue 4 pieces that's going to be 7-inch long, 2 on each side, that is going to hold the buckle. So they will go on the side like this. They will hold the buckle. I will also glue two pieces that's going to go to the side like this, and then I'm going to also do two pieces for the straps. So that's what I'll do. I have them cut out, and then I will glue them off camera just to save viewing time as far as you sitting there watching me glue all of these together. So I'll glue these, and then we'll come back and cut the tips and put the sew them and then put the straps on. You know, after I start folding these together and decided to check and see if it's going to fit the buckle, and which it does not, so I should have cut these out 2.5 inches wide. So a mistake that I made was not to first cut out a small piece, fold it and test it to see if that was going to fit this buckle, because it says a 1-inch buckle. I just assumed that, and so I figure, well, if it's a 1-inch buckle, I'll cut it out 2 inches wide, fold it, it should fit. Well, I should have cut it out 2.5 inches, and so I'm going to cut it out 2.5 just to make sure, and then I have to go back and recut these again. And that's the mistake that I made for not checking before I cut everything out. So if I cut these out 2.5, I'm just going to check and make sure. So just so you know that you don't make the same mistake that I just made, if you're going to fold your leather and make your straps, cut you a sample piece, check it to make sure that it's going to fit properly, that it's not too small or too big. And that's the mistake that I made. So 2.5 is too wide, so which means that I should have cut it out 2.25 inches. So I'm going to take off, make this 2.25. Two and a quarter should fit perfect. So I'm going to glue this. And test it. 2.5 was too big. 2 inches was too small. Two and a quarter should be just right. And the buckle itself, let's just measure that. The buckle itself is one inch wide, but what happens is that when you make this fold, that takes up some of the width of your leather. So when I make that fold, I'm probably taking up about 1/4 of an inch in that fold, so that's why I'm about 1/4 of an inch off as far as the width. So just remember that if you're folding and you want it to be a certain size, so I added 1/4 of an inch. Now that's perfect. That's what it should look like. So I'll go back, recut everything, re-glue it, and then after I do that, then we'll go to cutting the tips and sewing and attaching the straps. But that's a mistake that I made, and I'm kind of glad I did make it. Well, not really glad, but since I did make it, I was able to show you the mistake that you can make if you don't add that 1/4 of an inch because of the fold. So I'll go back, recut, re-glue. Okay, now what we'll do, we'll cut the tips on them, measure everything up, and then we'll edge coat and sew. Okay, now I have a strap tip cutter, so I'm going to cut 2 straps. These are my 24 inches long. So I need to cut 2 of them. And basically what the tip cutter does, it gives the tip a shape. So I'm going to cut one of them, then the second one, I want to make sure that they're both of the same length. Okay, so these are the pieces that will go right here. So now what we'll do, we will edge coat these, and I'm not sure, I think I'm just going to put Mod Podge on them just to give them a shine instead of putting edge coat, because my edge coat I have black and brown, and I just don't want to put black on there and just be, I just think it'll be out of place. So I'm just going to Mod Podge these to give it a glaze. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is just put Mod Podge on the edge of the strap just to give it a glaze. And like I say, I really don't care to put the black on it. Okay, now that we have all of the straps with the Mod Podge on the tip of them, now we will sew straps. Okay, this is the last strap. Once we sew this, then we will go and start putting in the bag together as far as the straps and the bottom of the lining. And after that, this bag will be complete. Okay, now that we have the straps sewn, the next thing we will do is that we will punch a hole in the buckle keeper that would allow this pin from the buckle to go through this particular hole. This would allow us to attach the buckle to the side of the bag. So I'm going to go ahead and punch the hole for the other 3 so you can see how that is done. Okay, this punch I'm using, this is a Oplon 3/4 of an inch punch. So this is what allows you to get this particular hole here for the pin from the buckle. So basically what I do, I just take my buckle keeper, I fold it. That will give me my center. So that will let me know that this is the center where I need to punch, but I also want to make sure that I am in the center of the strap itself, the buckle keeper itself. So now that I have my center, I just kind of tap it so I can get a visual to see that that is my center. With these punch, what I do is that I will lean the punch forward, hit it backwards, hit it, then I go straight down. And that cuts the hole. Okay, this punch I'm using, this is a Oplon 3/4 of an inch punch. So this is what allows you to get this particular hole here for the pin from the buckle. So basically what I do, I just take my buckle keeper, I fold it. That will give me my center. So that will let me know that this is the center where I need to punch, but I also want to make sure that I am in the center of the strap itself, the buckle keeper itself. So now that I have my center, I just kind of tap it so I can get a visual to see that that is my center. With these punch, what I do is that I will lean the punch forward, hit it backwards, hit it, then I go straight down. And that cuts the hole. We have 4 straps cut for the buckles. And now, like I say, we will start putting this bag together. And if you ever have any question about which way is the right way to put as far as the front of the buckle, on the buckle pin there's always a flat part of that pin. That's the front part of the buckle. So if I'm going to put this buckle on, and it's the same thing if you was making a belt, same process. So I would put all 4 of my buckles. These are 1-inch buckles. And you can use whatever size, whatever style. Like I say, you don't even have to use buckles. You can just put a D-ring on the strap and attach your straps to it. But I like using buckles because it makes the strap adjustable. Everybody don't want their straps to be adjustable. Some people don't care, but some people, they want to be able to adjust their strap. So that's why I use buckles. So now that we have these done, we will install the buckle keepers onto the bag, and really the last thing we have to do is the bottom lining is to sew it on, and that bag is done. Okay, now that we have everything sewn together, we have all the straps done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to attach the straps, a buckle keeper to the bag. So the way I do that is I'm going to put a little glue right inside of the strap, the buckle keeper, to hold it, so while I'm working with it I don't have to worry about it keep opening up on me. So I'll put a little glue in here, and then I will put a clamp on it. This would help keep it closed while I'm working with it. So I will do each one like that. It just makes it much easier when you start attaching it to the bag itself. And while these are drying, I'm going to put the snaps on the other two small. So I don't want the glue to come over to the side so you can see it. Now, while these are drying, I'm going to attach or punch the hole for the snaps for these side straps. Now, you don't have to put these on. You can make this bag without putting the snaps on, and you can also come up with another way of how you want to finish this area here off. We're going to finish it off by putting. So basically what I will do, I will bend the strap so I can get the center, so I know it's going to line up with the center seam here. And then I'm just going to press, and I will get a pencil and put me a mark right where I want to punch my hole, which is about right here. Use my snap so it doesn't disappear on me. So I'm going to punch this hole. And then what I will do, I will put my snap inside. Move this back over. I get my snap setter. Close it. Then I can take this but I didn't get it tight enough. See how that drops down? That needs to be a little tighter. So I'm going to redo that one. So let me just go ahead and try this one, because that was not tight enough. That should be tight enough there. So as you can see, this is being worked out in real time, so a lot of the time you have to redo things. See here, put this one on. Put this one on. Now let's try it. Now that's much better. That's much better. Now, I'm still going to redo those. This is off balance, but anyway, you can see how to do the snap. But if you look at this, I have more. The snap is over further here than it is on this side, so I'm going to redo these here. But anyway, just so you can see how those are done. But at the end of the video, they will be redone. But we're going to go ahead and go to the part where we're going to attach the buckle keeper. And when you do that, take this tissue out. Now this is one of those things that could be done earlier and will make it much easier, but I'm going to show you how to do it once the bag is put together. And basically what I do is that I will take, first I need to punch the holes. I need to punch the holes for the buckle keeper. This one. And what I do, I set this right at the edge of the pounding board so I can let the buckle down so I can get closer to the buckle to punch my hole. Then I will put a rivet in here. Now earlier when I was speaking about putting the glue in between here, how you don't want it to be seen, see how this glue has seeped out through the side? So you want to be real careful about how much glue you put in there and keep it close to the center, because if you put it close to the edge, it will seep to the side, and you don't want people to see that. So I'll to my next one. As close to the top as possible. So these are large rivets, but I'll probably end up using the medium size, but we'll see how much, if we need to go with the medium size. So what I'll do, let's go ahead and punch the holes first, and then I'll put the rivets in. It'll flow much better. Okay, now that we have the holes punched and the rivets in, now what I'll do is that I will determine where I want my strap keeper to set. Whether I want them, I don't want them too far to the side, but it's wherever you want them, but I'm going to. And the other thing I do is that right at the top of the buckled keeper, I line it up with the top of the bag. So what I'll do, I'll lay the bag down and I'll decide where I want and I'll take a ruler. This is just an adjustable ruler, but you can take any type of ruler and you can use it to determine that both of them are the same distance. This is exactly the same distance from the side. So what I will do, I will press down get my mark. I'll just use a pencil just in case I have to redo that and I don't have a permanent mark there that I can't take off. For some reason I cannot see that top one. Try this again. Stand up. I am not seeing this top mark. So I'm going to take this out. Use a pencil. It's right there. And if you're not sure, I can measure the distance, and that is it. Okay. So what I will do, I will get my two marks and Because the bottom is still open, I have not put the bottom lining in. This allowed me to pull up this lining and to be able to punch these holes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull up the lining. Make sure that nothing is in the way. So I'm going to punch this first hole. Punch the one at the top. Like I say, you have to make sure you're not punching through your lining or your pocket lining. Take this one. And I'm going to punch this one. To go over on okay. So now I'll put my caps on the back. And then I'll put my second one on. I'm using the large rivets. They seem to be the one I need to use. I thought maybe I would use the medium, but I think the large will work. And sometimes you can use the wrong one. If you use the large and you press them down, they will bend to the side. So this is what it's going to look like. So now what I'll do, I won't close them as far as press them down until I do the other side. Now when I do the other side, what I will do is that I would just take it, line it up, and let me see if I zip it. Yeah. I'll line it up, and then I'll take the other ones for the other side, and I'll take it and I'll just line it up with the zipper, with the buckle on the other side, to make sure they're lined up together. And once I get it lined up, bring this down. Once I get it lined up, then I can press it down to get my mark. Let's press it down, turn this like this. Press it down and get my mark. One here, one here. And I do the same thing on the other side. And lined up. I'm doing the same thing. I'm getting the top of the keeper with the top of the bag. You might find an easier way of doing it, but I just want to show you how I do it, and you can figure out a way that's easier for you. Like I say, you can do this before you even put the bag together. So now that I have my 4 marks, now what I'll do is punch the holes just like I did on the other side. Make sure there's nothing in the way. Take this, open this up. Punch my hole. Make sure there's nothing in the way. Do the other side. This side. Now, move this out of the way. Okay. Okay, for some reason, make sure I have the right one. Put this one here. There we go. And see, sometimes you can get your buckle keepers crossed up. See, I was trying to put this one on this side and it didn't match up. So you have to come up with your system that allows you to keep your buckle keepers on the right side to where you don't get them mixed up. But if you punch the holes and one doesn't fit the other one, you just switch it up, because it should fit, because you measured it by punching the holes. So it will fit. Okay, that's the other side. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and close them. Get the center. Once this is open, got that one set. Go ahead and set this one. Now we'll do the other side, and then we will have these set. I could put something over the lining and set it on top of the lining. You don't want to do it without putting something over your lining because you can damage your lining. But I'm just going to I'm moving the lining out of the way. I'm going to pull this one here back out because what I did when I set it, I hit that buckle and this is bent. But I'll pull that back out and redo it. Now, make sure this buckle is out of the way. Okay, let's put the tissue back in here. Now, if you need tissue paper to work with while you're to stuff your bag, while you're working on your bag, we buy boxes of tissue paper from U-Haul, and there's, I don't know how many sheets it is, but it's like only $8, and this is a good way to stuff your bags as you're working with them. See, these are, now what we're going to do, we're going to put the straps on, and then this part of the bag will be done. And like I said, I still have to go back and redo these snaps for the side. And I'm going to show you how to do that, how to take these snaps off, because you will experience this where you put snaps on and then you have to move them over a little bit and you have to take them off. I'll show you how to do that. But the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to punch holes for the straps. And what I normally do is that I normally start about 2 inches from the tip. That's where I will punch my first hole. I go about 2 inches, and I'll just tap it just to get an imprint. And then these are adjustable rulers. You can get these at like Joann's or any fabric store. Hancock. Okay, so now I'm going to go 1 inch from this first hole that I tapped. This will allow each hole to be the same distance apart. So I'm putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 on each side. So I'll go 2 inches from the tip for my first. Then I'll go 1 inch after that. Just get the imprint before I actually punch the hole. So now I have my 5. So now that I have my 5, I'm going to punch the holes. But now I want to make sure that my other strap is the same. So I will line it up, get a clip, put a clip on it so it doesn't move on me. Put another clip here, kind of keep that in place. And then I'll just tap it. Make sure everything is in the same place. Do the same thing on the other side. This is just to make sure. Oh, I need to put this on top. This is just to make sure that your strap is going to line up perfect. Punch these holes. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put eyelets in here. Give my strap, give the holes a finished look. Once I have my eyelets in, I'll get my eyelet setter, turn the strap over, press down, and that gives it a nice finish. So I'll do the same thing on this side, turn it over. We'll do the same thing for this strap. just so you can. Now you don't have to put the eyelets in, but the eyelets just give it a finished quality look. And it depends on if you put buckles and you have a buckle that is the buckle stem is much bigger than the eyelets that you can find. You can also get, there are also small grommets, which is a little larger if you're using a buckle that's much much bigger than the one that I'm using here for these eyelets. And sometimes you will run into buckles that is just the stem on it is just much bigger. So let's close this. Okay. So this is what it looks like. Okay, this is, let's put the straps on. Like I said, you could put strap keepers on that can go right around here but with these type of buckles, this becomes your strap keeper. So you really don't need a second one, but you can. It'll just give it a much better look also. So on this side, so this is, set that up. This is the bag. Now, like I said, what I need to do, I need to go back, redo these here. Because it's kind of falling down like this, so I'm going to redo these. Before I go back and remake them, I'm going to take the snaps off and see if I can shift the snaps over and the hole doesn't show. If that's the case, I won't have to actually redo them again. So but let me show you how to do that too, because in that way, if you're working with these and you need to take the snaps off and you don't know how to do that, at least you'll see that. So let me get a couple of things to show you how to do that. Okay, let me show you this. These are the tools that I use to take the snaps off. A flat tip screwdriver and a couple of pliers. I'm not even sure what are these pliers even called, but this is what I use. And when you do this, you want to hold your screwdriver very tight, because when you hit it, it can shoot out of your hand. So what I do, I just take the screwdriver, and sometimes it'll come out very easily, like this one is. So I'll just take this, pull the this part of the snap off. Now I'm able to pull this part off. Sometimes it doesn't come off that easy, but most of the time it does. So I'll just take this. Like I say, sometimes it doesn't come off so easy. Then I'll take the pliers, pull it off. Now what I'll do, because the snaps, the cap is so wide, I can punch my hole and come over just a little bit, and I'll still be able to hide this first hole. So I'm just going to come over on both sides just a little bit. Then, let's see here. And I'll be able to reset my snap. Here's another one. I'll be able to reset my snap, and you won't be able to see the first hole that I punched. And I think this should work just perfect. Let me reset this. Yeah, much better. That's much better. See, that's set much better. So I'm going to redo the other one on this side. I'm just going to bring it in. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm just going to bring this one here in over to my left just a little bit, and that will reset that one. Pliers. So I'll bring this one over to my left just a little bit, and that will allow me to reset that one. I'll take this one. Open this up. Okay. Okay, now that we have the straps on the bag, I had to go back and redo these straps here. What I ended up doing was recutting them at the measurement that I originally measured, which is 4.5 inches. So I had to go back and redo these because they was too long. So we have the straps on, and the last thing we need to do is put the bottom of the lining in. And what I'm going to do is take this tissue out, because we're going to have to flip the bag inside out. So I'm going to take my straps off. It'll make it much easier for me to flip this bag. So what I'll do, let me take these off too. Make this much easier. I will flip the bag. I'll flip the lining, turn the lining like this, fold this lining to get my centered, and then I will pin it the center to the seam. Now I'm going to only sew one side of the lining. I'll just sew one side, I'll leave the other side open. That would allow me to flip the bag back with the right side out, and then I will stitch the other side once I flip the bag the right side out. So I'm just going to do the same thing I did as far as putting the bottom of the bag on. I'm just going to go around. Instead of gluing, I'm going to be putting pins in. So I'll put the pins in, and then we will sew it. Now what we will do, we will sew around the bottom of the bag, leave this part open. That'll be the last thing that we do as far as closing up the bag. Okay, now that we have the lining pinned together, I'm going to sew it, and I'm going to do the same thing like I did with the bag itself. I'm going to sew from the top side. So I'm going to sew it at a 1/4 inch seam, just like I did the bag itself. Just do a back stitch to make sure it holds when I turn it, because there will be some stress on the lining itself. Pin came out. Put that back in. do a couple of back stitches here also, so in that way a stitch doesn't come out when I turn it. Now I'll pull my pins out, I will stitch it, stitch the other side, well turn it, and then I'll stitch the other side. So I'm going to pull these pins out. Okay, now that I have the pins out, I'm going to turn the bag, which I will pull the bag back through this hole. See if I can do this. Cut this thread out. Trying to do this without breaking my thread on my lining. Hopefully I don't have to open it up a little more, but I don't think so. Now we have that turned, so what I'm going to do now is this part that I left open, I can just pull it up like this, and I'm just going to fold it in, do a slight fold on each side of the lining. This. Now you may have another way of closing your lining, so you can choose whichever way that works for you. This is just how I do mine. Everybody have their own way of doing things, but I'm just showing you the way I close mine up. And a lot of people think, well, do everybody close up a lining? Well, you have to. If it was flipped, there's an opening somewhere. A lot of times they will put it on the side of the lining. So if you look inside of a bag and you look very closely, you will find it. A lot of times they're using a black lining and they use black threads, and it's kind of hard to see where the opening was, but there was an opening that they had to close up. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to change out the thread, and I think I'll do black instead of this cream color. I think black will look more presentable than the cream color. So I'm going to change out the thread and then we'll sew this. Okay, now that we got the thread changed out to black, I'm going to go ahead and sew this. Finish this out. So I'm sewing it really about 1/8 of an inch. I just want it to be as close to the edge as possible. And a lot of times people think, oh, well, somebody will see that. Well, a lot of times you're not looking for the seam inside of a lining. So, like I say, but there's other ways of doing it. But I'm just showing you how I do it. Now this bag really is pretty much finished. The only thing I want to show you now is there are some detail work that you may want to do, and you can do that before you, I think you should do it before you close the bag up. You can see right here, but it can also be done now. So what I'll do, I'll take a needle and thread and I'll whip stitch this right here, and right here where this is open, I'll just take needle and thread and I'll whip stitch that close. So other than that, really, this bag, it is done. So we'll go and stuff it, put the tissue back in, and show you the final bag. Okay, this is the bag. It is now complete, and like I say, once you make this bag, you're gonna really love making it. I know this was a long video, and I know I showed you a lot of things. You probably thought, well, why is he showing me that? Well, a lot of times we can make mistakes and we don't know what to do to correct it. So there were some things in the video that I wanted to show you what to do if it happened to you, because it will happen to you. So again, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video and for watching all of our videos. And I have more videos coming, and I have some very short videos, but I also have some very long detailed videos. So keep in mind, if you have not subscribed, please do. And if you know anyone else that want to learn how to work with leather, pass this on to them. And again, thank you so much for supporting us by watching and by your comments and by the donation we have been receiving. So stay tuned for the next video.